You're sitting across from someone who loves you. They can see something is wrong. They ask, "What's going on?" And you say, "Nothing, I'm fine." But you're not fine. You haven't been fine for weeks. There's something sitting in your chest that you haven't said out loud to a single person. Not your partner, not your closest friend, not anyone. And the strange part? You don't even fully know why. It's not that you don't trust them. It's not that you don't want help. It's something deeper, something that was built into you long before you had a choice about it. Today, we're going into the psychology of why so many men carry everything alone, where it comes from, what it costs, and what it quietly reveals about the men who do it. Welcome back. This channel is where we go deep into the psychology of men. Subscribe if this is your first time. Let's get into it.
Picture this. You're 7 years old. You fall off your bike. Your knee is bleeding. Your eyes are filling up. And someone, a parent, an uncle, an older boy, looks at you and says, "Stop crying. You're fine. Be tough." Nobody sat you down and said, "Never talk about your feelings." Nobody gave you a rule. They just responded to your pain by telling you it wasn't acceptable. And your brain, which at 7 years old is still deciding what the world is and how to survive in it, learned something permanent. Showing pain is weakness. Weakness invites danger. Weakness makes people think less of you. Researchers call this emotional suppression conditioning. A study published in the Journal of Counseling Psychology found that men who received consistent messages in childhood linking vulnerability with weakness were significantly less likely to seek emotional support as adults. Not because they didn't need it, because they were trained out of it before they were old enough to question it.
Here's what nobody tells you about the man who never talks about his problems. He's not cold, he's not broken, he's not emotionally unavailable in the way people assume. He built armor. Because at some point, early and repeatedly, the world showed him that opening up had consequences, that expressing pain made him a target, that needing something made him a burden. So he stopped. He handled it himself. He got very good at surviving things alone. Psychologists call this compulsive self-reliance. It's not stubbornness. It's a deeply intelligent adaptation to an environment that punished vulnerability. The armor worked. That's the thing people miss. It genuinely worked. It kept him functioning. It kept him standing. The problem isn't that the armor exists. The problem is that he never learned he could take it off.
Carrying everything alone is not free. The body keeps score, even when the mouth stays shut. Research from the Harvard Study of Adult Development, one of the longest studies of human well-being ever conducted, found that men who lacked close emotional connections had significantly worse health outcomes, shorter lifespans, and higher rates of depression than men who had people they could genuinely talk to. Not men who talked constantly. Not men who went to therapy every week. Just men who had someone they could be honest with. The silence doesn't protect him. It isolates him. And isolation, slow, quiet, self-imposed, is one of the most dangerous things a man can live inside. He looks fine from the outside. He functions, he shows up, he does what needs to be done. But something is always running in the background. Something unspoken that takes up space, that makes everything slightly heavier, that never fully goes away because it was never fully said.
Here is the paradox at the center of all of this. The men who are best at suffering in silence are often the most emotionally aware people in the room. They notice everything. They feel everything. They just learn to process it alone, invisibly, without making it anyone else's problem. They are simultaneously the people most in need of connection and the people least likely to reach for it. Not because they don't understand what connection is, because asking for it still feels somewhere deep in the part of them that's still 7 years old and bleeding, like something that will be used against them.
If you are someone who carries things alone, this is not a character flaw. It's a scar that became a strategy. You learned to need nothing because needing things wasn't safe. You learned to show nothing because showing things had a cost. You got very good at being fine when you weren't. That took strength, real strength, the kind nobody sees because you made sure they wouldn't. But here's what I want you to sit with. The same walls that protected you then are the same walls keeping people out now. And you get to decide at any point whether the armor still fits or whether it's just become a habit. Drop a comment. One word. Are you someone who carries everything alone? I read every single one. See you in the next one.